Coming up on Business Report Africa, ShopRite outlets across Nigeria shut down and staff begin industrial action. External reserves drop by $1.1 billion. StarTimes at risk of liquidation over debts. Details on these and more right after the break. This is Business Report Africa, brought to you by your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS TV. I am Ruel Panao. Staff of food retailer ShopRite have shut down all 25 outlets of the company in Nigeria by embarking on an industrial action over the sale of the company to billionaire Tayo Amusan, owner of Persianas Nigeria Limited, and a string of malls across different states in the country. While the contract papers signed by staff showed that most of them were to work with South Africa's ShopRite until between 2035 and 2040, the exit of the current management, which had been set for June, has pushed to staff to demand to be paid off, rather than running the risk of being sacked by the new management.
Responsibility. Yes. We are supposed to have biannual negotiation, and because they have sold up the company, and the company will be 100%, the company will be handed over to the new investors 1st April 2021. No, we need them to pay us our extra share. They call us to a round table and discuss way forward with us.
Yes.
We are not product that can be sold off anyhow. Do you understand me?
Yes.
We are people with vision.
Yes.
Do you understand me?
Yes.
Let everybody know.
Yes.
If anybody wants to video, if they want to take, let them do it. In fact, they are helping our cause.
Yes.
Do you understand me?
Yes.
Yes, that is it. Yes.
Now, in mid-2020, ShopRite had revealed its plans to follow through with the formal process to discontinue its operations in Nigeria due to the approaches it got from potential investors and in line with re-evaluation of the group's operating model in Nigeria. Statistics gotten from the Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday, March 1st, shows that external reserves, which stood at $36.19 billion, dropped by $1.1 billion in late February to $35.09 billion. Godwin Emefiele, Central Bank governor, said recently that efforts were made to reserve the country's foreign exchange, and Nigeria's external reserves at $35 billion was enough to finance the country's 7 months imports. To help limit the impact of low crude oil prices on the Nigerian economy, strong emphasis must be placed on diversifying the foreign exchange earnings, and in this regard, the CBN would be deploying part of its intervention schemes towards supporting growth in the country's non-oil exports, with measures to improve the flow of remittances through formal channels. Satellite television company StarTimes is encountering legal problems that might force it out of business in sub-Saharan Africa. This is as a result of its $11 million debt, which it purportedly defaulted in paying to the League One French Football League for broadcasting rights. The satellite company was accused of not holding their own end of a deal signed earlier with beIN Media Group, holders of the International League One rights in 2018. Now, even after the pay TV got the right to broadcast English and local language League One in sub-Saharan Africa from 2018 to 2019 to 2023 to 2024, payments for the rights became a problem. The matter was taken to a Hong Kong court, and StarTimes agreed to a monthly payment plan. Sadly, the company defaulted on its first installment payment and blamed it on the tough economic climate in Africa, which was compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic. Regardless of this, beIN has filed a winding up order, a legal process by which a company's assets are sold to pay its debts on StarTimes. In reaction to that, StarTimes admitted that there is an ongoing legal process between both companies. However, it denied knowledge of any winding up order. As a result of the effects of the COVID-19 restrictions on the economy, Finland has signed a 3-year agreement with Trademark East Africa (TMEA) to revive and boost trade in the region. The fund, which amounts to $13 million, is aimed at supporting initiatives along the Northern Corridor that stimulate economic activity. Finnish Ambassador to Kenya, Eric Lundberg, said the funds will support TMEA and other regional governments to increase trade and continued response to COVID-19 under the Safe Trade Emergency emergency facility. The money is meant to fund both short to medium-term interventions that are critical for the resumption of food security, economic activity, social stability, jobs, and economic recovery. A cage fish farming project funded by the United Nations Women Agency has made it possible for more than 1,400 women in Bugiri district, Uganda to fend for themselves. The project, which is worth 2.6 billion Ugandan shillings, started in 2019 and is based on research by the UN Women Agency on gender gaps in agriculture production and is set to end on December 31st, 2021. In partnership with Increasing Women Economic Empowerment, the project is co-funded by Standard Bank South Africa and the Swedish government. According to the UN Women Country Representative, Mr. Maxine Huinato, these activities are done with intentions to promote the status of women so they leave a situation of deprivation and compete with men. The best way to achieve that in Uganda was through political empowerment, economic empowerment, and addressing violence against women. Now, since the project began, the women have seen an average of 11 tons of fish per month, and this year the project has set up 28 fish cages, while the projection for subsequent years is to sell 36,000 tons of fish per year, worth 2.5 billion Ugandan shillings in revenue. There's more coming up on Business Report Africa. I will be back after the short break. In the last week of February, the Tony Elumelu Foundation opened applications for the 7th edition of its $100 million entrepreneurship program with the economic recovery of young African entrepreneurs after the severe impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic set as one of its priorities. Rwandans with innovative ideas and businesses can apply for the program as well. Each year since it was founded, the foundation selects about 1,000 entrepreneurs from different parts of Africa to undergo a 12-week intensive online training with the aim of generating at least 1 million new jobs and create at least $10 billion in new business revenues across Africa. Now, in its 7th year, the TEF Entrepreneurship Program has empowered over 9,000 young African entrepreneurs, including Rwandans. According to the foundation, selected entrepreneurs from previous years have transformed their businesses and their communities. Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has been urged by bar owners and taxi operators to lift restrictions on pub operating hours and ease the night curfew as well because they have damaged their businesses. Bars and restaurants have shut down and most businesses have had to lay off workers. Most of them are concentrating on the fact that infection rates have fallen and therefore the night curfew, which was imposed in April last year, worked as cases fell from 12,633 in December to 5,200 in February. At the start of the new year, the president extended the night curfew that runs between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. as part of measures aimed at taming the spread of COVID-19. East African breweries posted a 3% drop in net sales for its first half ended December, as the closure of bars resulted in losses, and last year they had to turn to electric commerce to prop up sales. The International Monetary Fund has raised Kenya's 2021 economic growth forecast from 4.7% to 7.6%. This three-year $2.4 billion development happened after it reached a financial agreement with Kenyan authorities to support the country's COVID-19 response and to reduce the level of debt relative to the GDP. Now, while Kenya expects steady increase in tax revenue from the main tax revenue streams such as value-added tax, income tax, import duty, and excise duty, expert analysts are not as optimistic, and their expectations for Kenya's economy stop at 4.9% in 2021. Kenya may be one of the first central banks in Africa to raise its monetary policy rate in 2021, as the country has set plans to increase domestic debt insurance. The African Development Bank, AFDB, has not only given its support to digital currencies, but in capacity building among the female gender in the economic community of West African countries, including Nigeria. On March 2nd, 2021, its board of directors awarded a grant of over $320,000 to the West African Monetary Agency, WEMA, to mainstream gender in ECOWAS's Digital Financial Services, DFS, regulatory framework. These funds will support a gender gap analysis of several strategies, which include gender disaggregation analytics, financial inclusion, digital payment services and infrastructure, as well as digital identity. The project is set to span across 3 years and affects about 350 million people in all 15 ECOWAS member states, as Africa has a gender inclusion gap of 11% compared to the global average of 9%. The project has the potential to raise women's participation in digital financial market operations in the region by 35%. And to wrap up our report today, the most powerful search engine in the world, Google, has added cryptos to its finance platform. The selected cryptos added are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. The incorporation of cryptos by the trillion-dollar company came about as a result of a long wave in mainstream approval over the past months. Apparently, 2021 might just be the crypto launch year, as even more credible companies like MasterCard, Sino Global, and PayPal have shown support for cryptocurrencies. On that note, we end Business Report Africa. Thank you for watching. Do follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at TOS TV Network. I am Ruel Panel.